Now, if you discover or you have some of these symptoms, you have to seek advice. However, some doctors, those whom I met and I dealt with, will give you a medical advice that brings destruction, will make things worse. The big problem is these doctors are still advise people to do these things. 95% of doctors I met repeat what they have learned in medical schools. And these information, most of it is old. Many doctors I met try to treat type 2 diabetes as if it is type 1, meaning you have high sugar means you need insulin. No, type 1 is totally different. Type 1, from the beginning, you have no insulin. Type 2, you live maybe for 40, 50 years, then suddenly you have the high blood sugar. Means how did you live the last or the past 50 years? Means you have insulin. What I discovered that I had insulin resistance, meaning too much insulin and too much sugar. The cell is not accepting any insulin because of so many things, and I will mention. Let's see some of these advices that brings destruction and worsening the case. First advice, eat everything in moderation. Little bit. There is no unhealthy food. This is what some doctors say. No unhealthy food. Excuse me. Another advice, never skip breakfast. Don't miss a meal. Why? Why, when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I look for is food? Why? What's the reason? As long as I'm not hungry at all, why should I eat? Especially if pancakes, all this sugar stuff and the carbs. What for? Another advice, more meals in small quantities. Instead of having 3 meals, no. You have breakfast at 8, have one donut at 11, have lunch at 1, have another donut or some crackers at 3 o'clock, and evening you have your dinner, 5 meals. Destruction. Each time you put a bite in your mouth, that will turn into sugar, especially if it's carbs or sugar. So we need to reduce the number of meals, not to eat more. Another advice, the so-called advice, consume less fat. Why? Why? Everything from nature, especially the good organic ones, are very good. Good fats in peanuts, in chestnut, in avocado, olive oil, olives, fish, salmon. They are very good for our health. Another advice, consume less salt. This is right, but something is missing. Consume less white salt. That's correct. Consume less white salt. Why? This is only two elements in this product. Na, sodium, Cl, chloride. When we were in school, we used to play with each other and say, 2 elements, if you eat each one alone, you die. If you put them together and eat them, nothing happens. NaCl. We should advise people to start consuming this salt, sea salt, black salt, Himalaya salt. This kind of salt contains at least 84 different trace minerals, which is enough. Another advice, the brain prefers carbohydrates and glucose. That's not true. Ketones is the brain's preferred fuel. Ketones, that comes from our liver. Another advice, use vegetable oil instead of fat. That is destruction. That's a problem, big problem. Majority of our problems are because of these vegetable oils.